In this video, we are going to learn how to use the reference software Pureref. Whatever kind of artist you are and whatever you're trying to make, reference gathering is an essential part of the artistic process, and you can use those references to better inform your work. Even if you're making something super stylized, getting the right reference and using it correctly will really help you take your work to the next level. In the age of the internet, it's a lot easier to get a lot of reference images from different angles and with a lot of detail. And you can store those reference images on your computer as image files, but those tend to take up a lot of space. And this app, Pureref, really helps you organize them and helps lower your space. So even if you have 50, 100 references for a project, your files will be well managed. So I'm going to show you the website. So the website is pureref.com, and if you just go there and you say get Pureref, it'll take you to this page. So if you're an individual, you would want a personal license. You can download it for any system that you're using. The default is set to $15, but if you type in a custom amount, you can set this to 0 and get it for free. If you do have extra money, you can donate to them because they're doing a great job with the software. But now that you know how to get it, here's how you would use that software. So I have it saved on my taskbar down here, so I'm going to open it up. And when you open it up, this is what you have. So something that I have it set to all the time is as soon as you download the software, this is what you should do. Open it up, right click, and set the mode to always on top. So what's going to happen with this is that this little window is always going to be on top of whatever software you're working in. So if I go to Chrome, I do something here, it is still going to have this window on top. This is very useful because you always have your reference right next to what you're working on, and you can constantly refer to it as you're working. So now that you have this, so it's set to always on top, and this window can be any size that you want it to be. So if you have 2 monitors and you want this to be really big, take up the whole screen, you can do that. For me, I'm using a single monitor right now, so I'm setting it to be smaller. So I kind of want it on the side over here. So you just use these arrow keys to make it bigger or smaller. You can right click to move it around. So sometimes when I'm working, I usually keep it on the left here. That's where I prefer to have my references. But you can also move it anywhere on your screen. Sometimes if I want my work to be a little bigger, I just move this aside and then bring it up when I need to. So that's right click to move it around. And now let's open up a file. So I'm going to open up one of my files. So let's go to this one. So the great part about Pureref is that it is an infinite window. So if you look at this, you can have like hundreds of reference images all in this window, and it is you never run out of space. So now let's look at some images that I have here. If I move this, you can see how it just increases the size of that canvas to accommodate that image. So you can have as many images as you want, and to bring in the images. So the best way to use this if you are gathering your references online is you need to, let's say, so I'm working on a project that has a badger. So let's say badger, and let's get those references in. So I would go look up reference images, whether it's on Google Images, Pinterest, whatever website you're using, anywhere on the internet. And then maybe I want this image. So I already have this in here, but let's say I want this image, or let's bring a new one. Let's say this one. So let's say I want this image, and I can just drag and drop this here, and it brings that image into your Pureref file. And the great part about this is that this image is not imported, like it's not saved on your computer. It is referencing it from this web source. So that means that when you actually save this file, it's not going to be a big file because it's not actually importing the images. It's getting it from the web source. Something that I usually do when I'm bringing these images in is, if I'm on Google Images especially, I make this image like the bigger image. So you see if it's So this is it at a bigger image size, and this is it if I just select it from here. So that makes a difference, the kind of size that you have the image at on Google Images. And if you actually go to the page and open that out, you might get a higher resolution image depending on what they have on the website, because Google Images is just referencing images from other websites across the net. So you have your images in here. That's basically most of these images in here are what I have referencing from online. These few images of the actual character that I'm modeling that are from picture book. So these images are actually imported onto the file. So I downloaded these. I think I took a screenshot from somewhere, and I then just copied and pasted it. So these few images are actually on the Pureref file, so they are adding to the space it occupies on disk. But other than that, all of these other reference images are from the net. And this is great. It helps you stay organized. I'm not the best at organizing my reference images because while I'm working, I keep moving them around, scaling them, and all that stuff. But you see, I have references for shoes over here. I have some hand references. These are not even all my references. I'm in early stages of this, so these are just references I'm using for now for the modeling. So you can see how you can organize them, and of course you have infinite space. So I have my references from character modelers here to help me get some ideas for some shapes, references of the badger hand, all that stuff. So now those are how to bring in the images. So which is great. You can bring in as many images as you want. Now let's say you want to add notes. You can do that as well. So you can have, let's say you right click and you want to type in note. So you can type in badger refs, and then let's, so if you type in notes, I think that's it. So you press enter. And you save that. The notes are a little weird, I will say. The size, so 16 is not the same. So if you look at 16, you're like, oh, okay, every note that is at a font size of 16 is going to look exactly the same. It's not. It really depends on how much you're zoomed in for some reason. So if I go to note, that is also 16, but it looks completely different. So that's just something to take note of. And if you type multiple notes when you open the note, if you right click and you type multiple notes, sometimes it links them. So if you move one, it'll move all of the other notes that you have as well. That's just something to keep in mind, but you can put in notes, which is great. So if you have thoughts about your references, you can add those. You can also add in, you can draw. So you're like, okay, so this is my reference. I want to draw, so when you draw, you can also set what type of line you want. So I have this set to arrow right now. So you can just set this to regular line. You can choose the line width. So if you want a really thin line, and you can draw. So you can draw, okay, so these are, I'm drawing with a mouse right now, so don't have much control. But if you want to okay, so this is a badger, these are the shapes, whatever that is. So you can draw on top of this. And the arrows are also super useful, which I'll show you in a second how I use that. So yeah, this is how, so these arrows are as well, you want to point to something on your reference sheet. So you have that. You can also save this. So you can save this, you can export this whole Pureref file as a separate image. So if you go to save, export all images, you can save it as a PNG if you'd like to do that. I would recommend not doing that. But yeah, this is how you would use it basically. You can also organize your canvas, so you can arrange optimally, so then it arranges all of them in this little section right here. But yeah, this is how you would use it. And as I said, infinite images doesn't occupy a lot of space. So it's a great tool to use. And let me show you another one that I've made. So this one. So this one has, I've even added some extra shapes with those drawing tools, I think. So yeah, this is a lot of notes that I've added about these references. And yeah, this is a great tool to use. I would recommend always using it. Just in case, I think I forgot to mention the navigation. So right click, middle click to move around inside the space, and then the scroll key to zoom in and out. And that's basically it. You can set these, you can use this if you're using a Wacom tablet or whatever tablet you use. You can set your pen buttons to do that. So like you have right click, you have middle click. Those are usually what the buttons on your drawing tablet pen should be set to anyway. So great tool. Definitely I use it. Yeah, I think a lot of artists really like this tool, especially if you're a digital artist. One last thing that I forgot to mention is how to save this file. So you can save it as just right click, save, save as, and it is going to save as a .pur file, which is what you want. I don't know much about the version compatibility, like whether you can open a newer file and an older version. I'm not 100% sure about that, but it'll save as a Pureref file. Unfortunately, Pureref is just a PC app, so you can't download it on your phone or on the iPad. But especially if you're doing 3D work, you're mostly using a computer. So this is how you would save that file.